Do you want to successfully complete the C273 Objective Assessment exam? Then you are in the right place. Our website provides a list of questions and answers for your success in the C273 OA exam for free. We understand that acing your OA exam can be quite challenging. That's why we provide completely free exam guides and practice questions for you. In this video, we will cover questions from tax concepts, accounting principles, deductions and credits, property and gains and business tax. So let's get started. 1. In sociology, the term positivism, introduced by Auguste Comte, refers to what approach? A. Applying religious beliefs to society. B. Using intuition to understand human behaviour. C. Applying scientific methods to the social world. D. Emphasising cultural values over social rules. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. C. Applying scientific methods to the social world. Explanation. Option C is correct because Auguste Comte, who is often called the father of sociology, believed that society should be studied in the same way scientists study the natural world. Positivism is the approach of using scientific methods, like observation, comparison, and experimentation, to uncover the laws that govern how society works, rather than relying on religion or pure speculation. Option A is incorrect because positivism was developed as an alternative to religious or metaphysical explanations for social phenomena. Option B is incorrect because positivism rejects intuition in favour of objective empirical evidence that can be observed and measured. Option D is incorrect because while cultural values are a subject of study, positivism focuses on discovering observable social rules and patterns through scientific inquiry. 2. Which sociologist is known for coining the term survival of the fittest in the context of social evolution? A. Karl Marx. B. Emil Durkheim. C. Max Weber. D. Herbert Spencer. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. D. Herbert Spencer. Explanation. Option D is correct because Herbert Spencer, an English sociologist, applied the concept of evolution to societies. He coined the phrase survival of the fittest to suggest that the strongest and most capable societies, institutions, and individuals would thrive while weaker ones would decline. He believed this was a natural process that should not be interfered with. Option A is incorrect because Karl Marx's work centred on class conflict and economic determinism, not social evolution in the Spencerian sense. Option B is incorrect because Emil Durkheim focused on social integration, solidarity, and the study of social facts like suicide. Option C is incorrect because Max Weber is known for his work on bureaucracy, the Protestant ethic, and the rationalization of society. 3. Karl Marx's theory of class conflict centres around the struggles between which two classes? A. Bourgeoisie and aristocracy. B. Working class and clergy. C. Bourgeoisie and proletariat. D. Clergy and nobility. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. Bourgeoisie and proletariat. Explanation. Option C is correct because Karl Marx's theory of history and society is built on the idea of class conflict. In a capitalist society, he identified two primary opposing classes: the bourgeoisie, who are the capitalist class that owns the means of production, and the proletariat, who are the working class that must sell their labour to survive. Option A is incorrect because while the aristocracy was a dominant class in feudalism, Marx's analysis of capitalism focused on the bourgeoisie. Option B is incorrect because the clergy is a religious class, not one of the two primary economic classes in Marx's theory of capitalism. Option D is incorrect because the clergy and nobility were the dominant classes in pre-capitalist feudal societies, not the central conflict of capitalism as described by Marx. 4. In Durkheim's study of suicide, he identified low levels of social integration as contributing to higher suicide rates. This is an example of what concept? A. Organic solidarity. B. Social isolation. C. Functional analysis. D. Anomie. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. Social isolation. Explanation. Option B is correct because Emil Durkheim found that when people have low levels of social integration, meaning they lack strong ties to their community and social groups, they experience social isolation. This feeling of being disconnected from society was a key factor in what he termed egoistic suicide, where individuals feel they are on their own and lack group support. Option A is incorrect because organic solidarity is a type of social cohesion found in complex societies, which actually represents a form of integration, not a lack of it. Option C is incorrect because functional analysis is a broad theoretical perspective, not the specific concept describing the condition of a low integration. Option D is incorrect because anomie, while also a cause of suicide in Durkheim's theory, refers to a state of normlessness or a lack of regulation, which is distinct from the lack of social connection. 5. Which theoretical perspective in sociology suggests that people act based on symbolic meanings they derive from their social interactions? A. Functional analysis. B. Conflict theory. C. Structural functionalism. D. Symbolic interactionism. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, D. Symbolic interactionism. Explanation. Option D is correct because symbolic interactionism is a micro-level theoretical perspective that focuses on how individuals use symbols to create meaning, define their realities, and guide their actions during face-to-face social interactions. Option A is incorrect because functional analysis is a macro-level perspective that views society as a system of interrelated parts that work together to maintain stability. Option B is incorrect because conflict theory is a macro-level perspective that focuses on power struggles, inequality, and competition for scarce resources between different groups in society. Option C is incorrect because structural functionalism is another name for the functionalist perspective, which focuses on large-scale social structures and their functions. 6. Harriet Martineau advocated for which primary purpose of sociology? A. Developing mathematical models for society. B. Social reform and improvement. C. Collecting data on political movements. D. Establishing economic policies. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, B. Social reform and improvement. Explanation. Option B is correct because Harriet Martineau, one of the earliest female sociologists, believed that the purpose of studying society was not just for academic understanding, but to bring about social reform. She was a strong advocate for using sociological insights to address and correct social injustices, such as slavery and the oppression of women. Option A is incorrect because her focus was on qualitative observation and social justice, not mathematical modelling. Option C is incorrect because while she studied political systems, her primary goal was broader social improvement, not just data collection on movements. Option D is incorrect because her focus was on overall social reform, not specifically on establishing economic policies. 7. According to Emil Durkheim, a normal society is characterized by what condition? A. Rapid social change. B. Parts of society fulfilling their roles. C. Cultural relativism. D. Lack of social integration. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, B. Parts of society fulfilling their roles. Explanation. Option B is correct because Emil Durkheim used a functionalist approach, viewing society as an organism. He considered a society normal or healthy when all its different parts were functioning properly and fulfilling their distinct roles, contributing to the stability and equilibrium of the whole. Option A is incorrect because Durkheim argued that rapid social change could disrupt social norms and lead to an abnormal state he called anomie. Option C is incorrect because cultural relativism is a methodological stance for understanding other cultures, not a characteristic of a normal society as Durkheim defined it. Option D is incorrect because Durkheim saw a lack of social integration as a pathological or abnormal state that could lead to social problems like suicide. 8. What concept refers to the study of patterns that make up society and how individuals are interconnected within it? A. Social fabric. B. Social integration. C. Macroanalysis. D. Microanalysis. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. Macroanalysis. Explanation. Option C is correct because macroanalysis, or macrosociology, is the level of sociological analysis that focuses on the big picture. It examines large-scale social structures, broad societal patterns, and major social institutions to understand how they shape society and the lives of large groups of people. Option A is incorrect because social fabric is a metaphorical term for society, not a formal concept for a level of study. Option B is incorrect because social integration refers to the degree to which individuals are connected to their social groups, which is a specific topic of study, not the level of analysis itself. Option D is incorrect because microanalysis focuses on small-scale, face-to-face interactions between individuals, not large-scale patterns. 9. The functionalist perspective sees society as composed of interrelated parts that work together to maintain balance. What is this concept called? A. Social equilibrium. B. Structural balance. C. Functional cohesion. D. Systematic theory. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, A. Social equilibrium. Explanation. Option A is correct, because the functionalist perspective views society as a system striving for stability. Social equilibrium is the term used to describe this state of balance, where different social institutions are functioning in a way that contributes to the overall stability and maintenance of society. When one part is disrupted, others adjust to restore this equilibrium. Option B is incorrect because structural balance is a concept from social network theory concerning triads, not the overall state of society in functionalism. Option C is incorrect because while functionalists study social cohesion, functional cohesion is not the standard term for the societal balance they describe. Option D is incorrect because systematic theory is too general and does not refer specifically to the concept of societal balance. 10. In participant observation, the researcher's role primarily involves what activity? A. Analysing government data. B. Actively engaging and observing in a setting. C. Conducting interviews with structured questions. D. Reviewing data from other researchers. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. Actively engaging and observing in a setting. Explanation. Option B is correct because participant observation is a qualitative research method where the researcher immerses themselves in a social setting for an extended period. They become an active participant in the group's activities while simultaneously observing the behaviour, interactions and culture to gain a deep, first-hand understanding. Option A is incorrect because analysing government data is a form of secondary data analysis, not participant observation. Option C is incorrect because conducting structured interviews is a distinct research method. While interviews may occur during fieldwork, the core of participant observation is active engagement. Option D is incorrect because reviewing existing data is known as secondary analysis or a literature review. 11. What term describes the tendency to judge other cultures by one's own cultural standards, often leading to bias? A. Cultural adaptation. B. Cultural relativism. C. Ethnocentrism. D. Cultural integration. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Ethnocentrism. Explanation. Option C is correct because ethnocentrism is the practice of using one's own culture as the standard to evaluate and judge other cultures. This often leads to the belief that one's own culture is superior and can result in biased or negative views of cultures that are different. Option A is incorrect because cultural adaptation is the process of adjusting to a new culture. Option B is incorrect because cultural relativism is the opposite of ethnocentrism. It is the practice of understanding a culture on its own terms without judgment. Option D is incorrect because cultural integration refers to the way different elements of a culture fit together. 12. According to symbolic interactionists, which aspect is central to human behaviour and social interaction? A. Social integration. B. Symbolic meanings. C. Class conflict. D. Functional equilibrium. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. Symbolic meanings. Explanation. Option B is correct because the core idea of symbolic interactionism is that human beings act toward things on the basis of the meanings they have for them. These symbolic meanings are created, negotiated, and modified through social interaction. Our behaviour is guided by our interpretation of these symbols, not just by external forces. Option A is incorrect because social integration is a central concept for Emile Durkheim and functionalism. Option C is incorrect because class conflict is the central concept in Karl Marx's conflict theory. Option D is incorrect because functional equilibrium is the central concept in the functionalist perspective. 13. Robert Merton introduced latent functions to describe what type of outcomes in society. A. Intentional positive effects. B. Unintended positive consequences. C. Intentional negative effects. D. Unintended negative consequences. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. Unintended positive consequences. Explanation. Option B is correct because Robert Merton, a key functionalist, distinguished between two types of social functions. Latent functions are the unrecognised and unintended consequences of a social pattern or institution. These consequences are beneficial or functional for society, but are not the explicit purpose of the action. Option A is incorrect because intentional and positive effects are called manifest functions. Option C is incorrect because this does not fit Merton's typology. Intended actions are manifest. Option D is incorrect because unintended negative consequences are known as latent dysfunctions. The term latent functions specifically refers to positive or neutral unintended outcomes. 14. Which type of sampling ensures that each individual in a target population has an equal chance of being selected for a study? A. Stratified sampling. B. Non-random sampling. C. Random sampling. D. Controlled sampling. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. Random sampling. Explanation. Option C is correct because a random sample is a cornerstone of scientific survey research. In this method, every member of the entire population being studied has an equal and known probability of being included in the sample. This technique helps ensure the sample is representative of the population and minimizes selection bias. Option A is incorrect because in stratified sampling, the population is first divided into subgroups, and then random samples are drawn from each subgroup. Not everyone has an equal chance unless the proportions are identical to the population. Option B is incorrect because non-random sampling methods do not give everyone an equal chance of being selected. Option D is incorrect because controlled sampling is not a standard term for this method in sociology. 15. Karl Marx is known for his theory that social change is driven by which primary factor? A. Environmental pressures. B. Class conflict. C. Religious reform. D. Technological advances. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. Class conflict. Explanation. Option B is correct, because Karl Marx's theory of historical materialism posits that the primary engine of social change throughout history is class conflict. He argued that societies evolve through stages based on the struggle between different social classes over the means of production, culminating in the conflict between the bourgeoisie and proletariat in capitalism. Option A is incorrect because Marx focused on economic and social factors, not environmental pressures. Option C is incorrect because Marx saw religion as part of the superstructure that justified the economic base, not as a primary driver of change. Option D is incorrect because while Marx recognized the importance of technology, he saw it as part of the forces of production, which were embedded within the larger dynamic of class conflict. 16. Which sociologist argued that religious values could contribute to the development of capitalism by promoting hard work and frugality? A. Karl Marx. B. Emil Durkheim. C. Max Weber. D. Herbert Spencer. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, C. Max Weber. Explanation. Option C is correct because in his seminal work, The Protestant Ethic and the Spirit of Capitalism, Max Weber argued that the values of certain Protestant sects, particularly Calvinism, created an ethic that was highly compatible with capitalism. This ethic emphasized hard work, discipline, and frugality as signs of religious devotion, which in turn encouraged the accumulation and reinvestment of capital. Option A is incorrect because Karl Marx argued the opposite, that economic systems determine religious ideas. Option B is incorrect because Emil Durkheim studied religion's role in creating social cohesion and solidarity, not its link to the rise of capitalism. Option D is incorrect because Herbert Spencer focused on social evolution and survival of the fittest. 17. What concept describes society's expectation that members will conform to established social norms? A. Role conflict. B. Social control. C. Cultural relativism. D. Group conformity. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. Social control. Explanation: option B is correct because social control refers to the various formal and informal mechanisms that a society uses to encourage conformity to its norms and values and to discourage deviance. These mechanisms range from laws and the criminal justice system to peer pressure, gossip, and socialization. Option A is incorrect because role conflict is the tension experienced when the expectations of two or more of an individual's roles are incompatible. Option C is incorrect because cultural relativism is the principle of understanding other cultures on their own terms. Option D is incorrect because group conformity is an outcome or an example of social control in action. But social control is the broader concept referring to the societal processes that produce it. 18. The iron law of oligarchy describes the tendency for organizations to develop what characteristic over time? A. Greater democracy. B. A centralized elite group of leaders. C. Decentralized management. D. Enhanced flexibility. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. A centralized elite group of leaders. Explanation: option B is correct because the iron law of oligarchy, a concept proposed by sociologist Robert Michaels, states that all complex organizations, regardless of how democratic they are at the start, will inevitably develop into oligarchies. This means that power becomes concentrated in the hands of a small group of elite leaders who run the organization. Option A is incorrect because this law suggests the opposite, that organizations tend to become less democratic over time. Option C is incorrect because the theory predicts centralization of power, not decentralization. Option D is incorrect because the development of a bureaucracy and an elite leadership often leads to more rigidity, not enhanced flexibility. 19. Max Weber suggested that social class consists of which three components? A. Wealth, education, property. B. Power, property, prestige. C. Property, race, ethnicity. D. Status, role, identity. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, B. Power, property, prestige. Explanation: option B is correct because Max Weber offered a multidimensional view of social stratification. He argued that a person's position in society is determined by a combination of three distinct but related components: property, power, and prestige. Option A is incorrect because it omits the crucial component of power and lists wealth and property separately, which Weber grouped under the economic dimension. Option C is incorrect because while race and ethnicity are often linked to class, they were not Weber's three core components of social stratification. Option D is incorrect because status, role, and identity are different sociological concepts related to social interaction, not Weber's model of social class. 20. What term describes a shared sense of belonging and identity among people who perform similar tasks as described by Durkheim? A. Social integration. B. Mechanical solidarity. C. Organic solidarity. D. Cultural cohesion. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. Mechanical solidarity. Explanation: option B is correct because Emil Durkheim used the term mechanical solidarity to describe the social cohesion in pre-industrial traditional societies. In these societies, Unity comes from the fact that people are very similar to one another. They share the same work, experiences, values, and beliefs. This shared consciousness and likeness creates a strong collective bond. Option A is incorrect because social integration is a general term for how connected individuals are to a group. Mechanical solidarity is a specific type of it. Option C is incorrect because organic solidarity is the social cohesion found in modern, industrial societies, which is based on interdependence among people with specialized tasks, not on their similarity. Option D is incorrect because cultural cohesion is a general phrase, whereas mechanical solidarity is Durkheim's specific term for solidarity based on likeness. 21. In sociology, a dyad is defined as what? A. A large social group. B. The smallest possible group consisting of 2 people. C. A group of 3 people. D. A structured organisation. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. The smallest possible group consisting of 2 people. Explanation. Option B is correct because a dyad is the simplest and most fundamental social group, consisting of just 2 members. Sociologist Georg Simmel analysed the unique characteristics of the dyad, noting its intimacy and fragility as the group ceases to exist if even one member leaves. Option A is incorrect because a dyad is the smallest, not a large social group. Option C is incorrect because a group of 3 people is called a triad. Option D is incorrect because a dyad is an informal group, not necessarily a structured organisation. 22. Which term refers to a group of people who come together based on shared interests or activities? A. Aggregate. B. Primary group. C. Secondary group. D. Social network. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. Secondary group. Explanation. Option C is correct because a secondary group is a relatively large, impersonal, and temporary group that is formed to pursue a specific goal or activity. Members' interactions are often formal, and their relationships are typically means to an end rather than for their own sake. Examples include a college class, a workplace, or a political organisation. Option A is incorrect because an aggregate is a collection of people in the same place at the same time who do not interact or share a sense of identity. Option B is incorrect because a primary group is small, intimate, and characterised by long-lasting emotional relationships. Option D is incorrect because a social network refers to the web of all social relationships an individual has, which includes both primary and secondary groups. 23. In sociological research, which research method involves observing people's behaviour without them knowing they are being observed? A. Participant observation. B. Unobtrusive measures. C. Case study. D. Experimental observation. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, B. Unobtrusive measures. Explanation. Option B is correct, because unobtrusive measures are research methods used to collect data without the subject's awareness. This is done to avoid the Hawthorne effect, where people alter their behaviour because they know they are being studied. Examples include analysing documents, examining garbage, or observing people from a distance in a public space. Option A is incorrect because in participant observation, the researcher is actively involved in the group, and the subjects are often aware of the researcher's presence and purpose. Option C is incorrect because a case study is an in-depth analysis of a single case, which often involves direct interaction with the subject. Option D is incorrect because experimental observation is not a standard term, and experiments often require the informed consent of participants. 24. Which sociological perspective is most concerned with the ways in which symbols shape social interactions and relationships? A. Functionalism. B. Symbolic interactionism. C. Conflict theory. D. Structural analysis. Do you know the answer? Correct answer: B. Symbolic interactionism. Explanation. Option B is correct because symbolic interactionism is a micro-level perspective that sees society as the product of everyday interactions of individuals. Its central focus is on how people use symbols to create shared meanings, define situations, and construct their social reality. Option A is incorrect because functionalism is a macro-level theory focused on how social institutions contribute to societal stability. Option C is incorrect because conflict theory is a macro-level theory focused on power struggles and inequality. Option D is incorrect because structural analysis is a general term often associated with macro-level perspectives like functionalism and conflict theory. 25. What is the main focus of sociology as a discipline? A. Examining human societies and social behaviour. B. Studying chemical interactions in society. C. Analysing biological influences on behaviour. D. Investigating historical texts. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer: A. Examining human societies and social behaviour. Explanation. Option A is correct because sociology is the scientific and systematic study of human society, including its structures, institutions, and development, as well as the social behaviour of individuals and groups within that society. Option B is incorrect because the study of chemical interactions is the domain of chemistry. Option C is incorrect because while sociology acknowledges biological factors, its primary focus is on social influences on behaviour. The study of biological influences is the domain of biology or sociobiology. Option D is incorrect because while sociologists may use historical texts, investigating them is the primary focus of the discipline of history. 26. The process by which people learn their culture's norms, values, and roles is known as what? A. Social control. B. Social integration. C. Socialization. D. Cultural diffusion. Do you know the answer? Correct answer: C. Socialization. Explanation. Option C is correct because socialization is the lifelong social process through which individuals learn the knowledge, skills, attitudes, values, and behaviours appropriate for members of a particular culture. It is how we develop a sense of self and become functioning members of society. Option A is incorrect because social control refers to the methods used to enforce conformity to norms, which is one aspect of socialization, but not the entire learning process. Option B is incorrect because social integration refers to the degree to which individuals feel connected to their social groups. Option D is incorrect because cultural diffusion is the spread of cultural traits from one society or group to another. 27. Which sociological term describes a social group with shared characteristics that set it apart from the broader society? A. Counterculture. B. Subculture. C. In-group. D. Aggregate. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer: B. Subculture. Explanation. Option B is correct because a subculture is a group within a larger culture that has its own distinct values, norms, and lifestyle, but still shares some elements of the dominant culture. Members of a subculture have a unique identity while still being part of the wider society. Examples include goths, gamers, or skateboarders. Option A is incorrect because a counterculture is a group whose values and norms are in direct opposition to the dominant culture. Option C is incorrect because an in-group is any group to which an individual feels they belong and identify with. It does not necessarily have distinct characteristics from the broader society. Option D is incorrect because an aggregate is a collection of people who are in the same place at the same time but lack social connection. 28. In Max Weber's view, what was the Protestant ethic? A focus on community service. B, a belief in religious traditionalism. C, a set of values emphasizing hard work and frugality. D, a call for political revolution. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. A set of values emphasizing hard work and frugality. Explanation. Option C is correct because Max Weber's concept of the Protestant ethic refers to a specific set of values he identified within certain Protestant denominations, especially Calvinism. This ethic promoted diligent work, self-discipline, and the avoidance of worldly pleasures as a sign of religious piety. Weber argued this mindset was crucial for the development of modern capitalism. Option A is incorrect because while community may be important, the specific ethic Weber identified was focused on individual work and salvation. Option B is incorrect because the Protestant ethic represented a shift away from traditional Catholic beliefs toward a new form of economic rationalism. Option D is incorrect because the Protestant ethic encouraged accumulating wealth within the existing system, not political revolution. 29. Which term describes the way in which people learn to take on roles and understand social expectations? A. Social integration. B. Role socialization. C. Anticipatory socialization. D. Role assimilation. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. Anticipatory socialization. Explanation. Option C is correct, because anticipatory socialization is the process of learning about and preparing for future roles that one anticipates occupying. It involves learning the norms, values, and behaviours associated with a particular group or status before actually joining it, such as a college student preparing for a future career. Option A is incorrect because social integration is the degree of attachment to social groups. Option B is incorrect because role socialization is a very general term. Anticipatory socialization specifically refers to preparing for future roles. Option D is incorrect because role assimilation is not a standard sociological term for this process. 30. In sociology, ethnocentrism is defined as what? A. Acceptance of other cultures. B. Understanding other cultures in their context. C. Believing one's own culture is superior to others. D. Cultural relativism. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, C. Believing one's own culture is superior to others. Explanation. Option C is correct because ethnocentrism is the tendency to view one's own culture and group as the standard and to judge other cultures and groups by those standards. It often includes the belief that one's own culture is superior to all others. Option A is incorrect because it describes open-mindedness, the opposite of ethnocentrism. Option B is incorrect because this is the definition of cultural relativism. Option D is incorrect because cultural relativism is the antidote to ethnocentrism, promoting understanding rather than judgment. 31. Theoretical perspectives in sociology provide different lenses through which to view society. Which perspective emphasizes the struggle between social classes? A. Structural functionalism. B. Conflict theory. C. Symbolic interactionism. D. Functionalist perspective. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. Conflict theory. Explanation. Option B is correct because conflict theory, heavily influenced by Karl Marx, views society as an arena of inequality that generates conflict and change. It emphasizes the constant struggle for power and resources between different groups, particularly social classes like the wealthy and the poor. Option A is incorrect because structural functionalism sees society as a complex system whose parts work together to promote solidarity and stability. Option C is incorrect because symbolic interactionism is a micro-level theory that focuses on face-to-face interactions and the use of symbols. Option D is incorrect because the functionalist perspective is another name for structural functionalism and focuses on cooperation, not struggle. 32. Sociologists use which term to describe a group with which individuals feel loyalty and identification? A. Outgroup. B. Primary group. C. Reference group. D. In-group. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, D. In-group. Explanation. Option D is correct because an in-group is a social group to which a person psychologically identifies as being a member. It is a group that commands a member's esteem and loyalty, often seen in contrast to an outgroup. It is the we or us in a person's social world. Option A is incorrect because an outgroup is a social group with which an individual does not identify. It is the them. Option B is incorrect because a primary group is a specific type of in-group characterized by intimate face-to-face association, but in-group is the more general term for any group one identifies with. Option C is incorrect because a reference group is a group used as a standard for evaluating oneself, which may or may not be one's in-group. 33. Which term refers to an individual or group that others use as a standard for self-evaluation? A. In-group. B. Outgroup. C. Reference group. D. Clique. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. Reference group. Explanation. Option C is correct because a reference group is a group that serves as a point of reference for individuals in making their own evaluations and decisions. People compare themselves to members of their reference groups to assess their own attitudes, behaviours, and social standing. Option A is incorrect because an in-group is a group one belongs to, which can be a reference group, but the term reference group specifically denotes the comparative function. Option B is incorrect because an outgroup is a group one does not belong to. While one might compare oneself to an outgroup, reference group is the precise term for this standard of evaluation. Option D is incorrect because a clique is a small, exclusive group of people, which is a type of group, not the concept of a standard for evaluation. 34. What concept describes unintended consequences that negatively impact society? A. Latent functions. B. Dysfunction. C. Structural change. D. Manifest functions. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, B. dysfunction. Explanation. Option B is correct because a social dysfunction, a concept refined by Robert Merton, refers to any social pattern that may disrupt the operation of society. These are the undesirable, negative consequences of a social structure or institution. Option A is incorrect because latent functions are unintended consequences that are beneficial or neutral, not negative. Option C is incorrect because structural change is a broad alteration in the social structure, which could be functional or dysfunctional. Option D is incorrect because manifest functions are the recognized and intended consequences of any social pattern, which are typically viewed as positive. 35. In sociology, an aggregate refers to what? A. A tightly knit community. B. People who share the same space but lack social bonds. C. A long-term social group. D. A clique within a society. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, B. People who share the same space but lack social bonds. Explanation. Option B is correct because an aggregate is a collection of individuals who happen to be in the same place at the same time, but share little else in common and do not interact in any meaningful way. Examples include people on an elevator or a crowd at a bus stop. They are not a social group. Option A is incorrect because a tightly knit community is characterized by strong social bonds, the opposite of an aggregate. Option C is incorrect because aggregates are temporary and transient, not long-term. Option D is incorrect because a clique is a small, exclusive social group with strong bonds. (36) Which social institution is responsible for teaching individuals the roles and norms necessary for societal participation? A. Economy. B. Family. C. Government. D. Religious institution. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, B. Family. Explanation. Option B is correct because the family is universally recognized as the primary agent of socialization. It is within the family that a child first learns language, basic beliefs, values, norms, and the fundamental skills needed to function in society. Option A is incorrect because the economy is the social institution that organizes a society's production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services, not the primary teacher of norms. Option C is incorrect because the government is the institution that directs the political life of a society. While it enforces norms through laws, the family provides the initial learning. Option D is incorrect because while religious institutions are an important agent of socialization for many, the family's role is more foundational and universal. 37. Sociologists refer to shared cultural norms, values, and expectations as which concept? A. Social structure. B. Collective conscience. C. Generalized other. D. Mechanical solidarity. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. Generalized other. Explanation. Option C is correct because the generalized other, a concept from George Herbert Mead, refers to the internalized attitude of the whole community. It is an individual's understanding of the general norms, values, and expectations of society, which they use to guide their own behavior and interpret the actions of others. Option A is incorrect because social structure refers to the patterned social arrangements and relationships that form the skeleton of society. Option B is incorrect because collective conscience is Emile Durkheim's term for the shared beliefs and moral attitudes that operate as a unifying force in society. While similar, The generalized other is more about the individual's internal perspective. Option D is incorrect because mechanical solidarity is a type of social cohesion based on likeness, not the concept of shared expectations itself. 38. The term counterculture refers to a group that has values which do what? A. Complement dominant cultural norms. B. Are similar to mainstream culture. C. Stand in opposition to the dominant culture. D. Align with traditional beliefs. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Stand in opposition to the dominant culture. Explanation. Option C is correct because a counterculture is a type of subculture whose values, beliefs, and norms place its members in direct opposition to the broader dominant culture. They actively reject and challenge mainstream societal values. The hippie movement of the 1960s is a classic example. Option A is incorrect because this describes a group that is well integrated, not a counterculture. Option B is incorrect because a counterculture is defined by its difference from, not similarity to, the mainstream culture. Option D is incorrect because countercultures often challenge traditional beliefs rather than aligning with them. 39. Durkheim's concept of organic solidarity is most likely to be found in what type of society? A. Industrial. B. Rural. C. Nomadic. D. Agrarian. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, A. Industrial. Explanation. Option A is correct because Emil Durkheim argued that organic solidarity is the form of social cohesion that arises in modern, complex societies, such as industrial societies. This solidarity is based on the interdependence that results from a high degree of specialization in the division of labor. People need each other because they all perform different specialized tasks. Option B is incorrect because rural societies are typically less complex and more likely to be characterized by mechanical solidarity. Option C is incorrect because nomadic societies are small. Traditional societies held together by mechanical solidarity based on shared customs and likeness. Option D is incorrect because agrarian societies, while more complex than nomadic ones, are still largely pre-industrial and are characterized more by mechanical solidarity. 40. Which perspective is most associated with the belief that society is composed of symbols used to communicate? A. Functional analysis. B. Symbolic interactionism. C. Conflict theory. D. Structural functionalism. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, B. Symbolic interactionism. Explanation. Option B is correct because symbolic interactionism is the sociological perspective that views society as the sum of the interactions of individuals and groups. It emphasizes that these interactions are made possible by the use of shared symbols, such as language, which allow people to communicate, create meaning, and construct their social world. Option A is incorrect because functional analysis focuses on how large-scale social structures contribute to societal stability. Option C is incorrect because conflict theory focuses on power, inequality, and social struggle. Option D is incorrect because structural functionalism is the same as functional analysis and is a macro-level theory, not one focused on symbols and communication. 41. Which research method involves in-depth examination of a single instance or individual? A. Survey. B. Experiment. C. Case study. D. Longitudinal study. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, C, case study. Explanation, option C is correct because a case study is a qualitative research method that involves a detailed, in-depth investigation of a single case, which could be an individual, a group, an event, or an organisation. The goal is to gain a rich, holistic understanding of the subject. Option A is incorrect because a survey collects data from a large number of people to identify broad patterns. Option B is incorrect because an experiment manipulates variables to test a hypothesis about cause and effect. Option D is incorrect because a longitudinal study tracks the same subjects over a long period of time to observe changes, but it is not limited to a single instance. 42. What is the primary focus of sociological study? A. Human interaction and social behaviour. B. Animal behaviour. C. Human genetics. D. Technological advances. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, A. Human interaction and social behaviour. Explanation. Option A is correct because sociology is the scientific discipline dedicated to understanding human society. This involves studying the patterns of human interaction, social structures, social groups, and the various forces that shape social behaviour. Option B is incorrect because the study of animal behaviour is the domain of zoology or ethology. Option C is incorrect because the study of human genetics is the domain of biology and genetics. Option D is incorrect because while technology is an important factor that sociologists study, it is not the primary focus of the entire discipline. 43. How does sociology define a role? A. A person's natural behaviour. B. The expected behaviour associated with a social status. C. A group's cultural values. D. Individual psychological traits. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, B. The expected behaviour associated with a social status. Explanation. Option B is correct because in sociology, a role is the set of behavioural expectations, rights, and obligations associated with a particular social status. For example, the status of doctor carries the role of diagnosing illnesses and treating patients. Option A is incorrect because roles are socially defined and learned, not necessarily natural. Option C is incorrect because cultural values are broad principles of what is desirable, which inform roles but are not roles themselves. Option D is incorrect because roles are a social concept, whereas psychological traits are an individual level concept studied in psychology. 44. Which sociologist is most closely associated with the study of bureaucracy? A. Karl Marx. B. Emil Durkheim. C. Max Weber. D. Harriet Martineau. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, C. Max Weber. Explanation. Option C is correct because Max Weber conducted an extensive and influential analysis of bureaucracy. He identified its key characteristics, such as hierarchy, specialization, and formal rules, and considered it the most efficient and rational way of organizing human activity, though he also worried about its potential to dehumanize individuals. Option A is incorrect because Karl Marx focused on class conflict and capitalism. Option B is incorrect because Emil Durkheim focused on social solidarity, social facts, and suicide. Option D is incorrect because Harriet Martineau was a pioneer in social reform and sociological methodology. 45. Which concept in sociology refers to norms and expectations about what is deemed appropriate behaviour? A. Values, B. Roles, C. Social control, D. Folkways. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, D. Folkways. Explanation. Option D is correct because folkways are social norms that govern routine, casual interactions. They are customs or conventions of everyday life that dictate what is considered polite or appropriate behaviour, such as how to greet someone or table manners. Violating them is typically seen as odd or rude, but not morally significant. Option A is incorrect because values are broad cultural principles that define what is good or bad, which underlie norms but are not norms themselves. Option B is incorrect because roles are behavioural expectations tied to a specific social status. Option C is incorrect because social control is the mechanism for enforcing norms, not the norms themselves. 46. When sociologists talk about social stratification, they are referring to A. The distribution of power based on wealth, B. A hierarchical structure within societies based on resources, C. The division between rural and urban cultures, D. The classification of genetic traits. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. A hierarchical structure within societies based on resources. Explanation. Option B is correct because social stratification is a system by which a society ranks categories of people in a hierarchy. This ranking is based on the unequal distribution of valued resources such as wealth, power, and prestige. This creates different layers or strata of people. Option A is incorrect because this is only one aspect of social stratification. Stratification also includes prestige and other factors, not just power based on wealth. Option C is incorrect because the division between rural and urban cultures is a matter of demographics and culture, not a system of hierarchical ranking. Option D is incorrect because this refers to a biological classification, which is outside the scope of sociological stratification. 47. Which concept refers to a breakdown of social norms, often leading to chaos or instability in society? A. Social integration, B. Anomie, C. Role conflict, D. Alienation. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, B. Anomie. Explanation. Option B is correct because anomie, a concept central to Emil Durkheim's work, describes a condition of normlessness. It occurs when social norms become weak, conflicting, or absent, leaving individuals without clear moral guidance. This state can lead to social instability, confusion, and higher rates of deviance. Option A is incorrect because social integration is the degree of connection to a group, which is seen as a source of stability, not a breakdown. Option C is incorrect because role conflict is the stress an individual feels when facing incompatible demands from two or more statuses. Option D is incorrect because alienation, a concept from Marx, is a feeling of powerlessness and estrangement from one's work, oneself, and others. 48. A system of thought that prioritizes understanding over immediate judgment and values diversity in social contexts is known as A. Ethnocentrism, B. Cultural relativism, C. Social hierarchy, D. Structuralism. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. Cultural relativism. Explanation. Option B is correct because cultural relativism is the principle that an individual's beliefs and activities should be understood by others in terms of that individual's own culture. It involves suspending one's own cultural biases to better understand other cultures, thereby valuing diversity and prioritizing understanding over judgment. Option A is incorrect because ethnocentrism is the opposite. It is the act of judging other cultures by the standards of one's own. Option C is incorrect because a social hierarchy is a system of ranking in society, not a system of thought. Option D is incorrect because structuralism is a theoretical approach that seeks to uncover the underlying structures that shape social life. 49. What is the sociological term for a person's view of themselves based on how they believe others see them? A. Self-concept. B. Social identity. C. Looking-glass self. D. Role strain. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, C. Looking-glass self. Explanation. Option C is correct because the looking-glass self is a concept developed by Charles Horton Cooley. It suggests that our sense of self is derived from our perception of how others see us. The process involves 3 steps. We imagine our appearance to others, we imagine their judgment of that appearance, and we experience feelings based on those perceived judgments. Option A is incorrect because self-concept is the broad, overall idea of who we are. The looking-glass self is a specific process through which that self-concept is formed. Option B is incorrect because social identity refers to the part of ourself that comes from our membership in social groups. Option D is incorrect because role strain is the tension experienced when a person has difficulty meeting the demands of a single social role. 50. Durkheim suggested that social integration protects against what social problem? A. Social change. B. Crime. C. Suicide. D. Anomie. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, C. Suicide. Explanation. Option C is correct because in his classic study Suicide, Emil Durkheim argued that the level of social integration, the degree to which individuals are connected to their social groups, is a key factor in suicide rates. He found that both excessively low and excessively high levels of integration could lead to suicide, but that strong, stable social bonds generally protect individuals from it. Option A is incorrect because social change is a process, not necessarily a problem, although it can cause problems like anomie. Option B is incorrect because while related to social norms, Durkheim's specific theory linked social integration directly to protection against a certain type of suicide. Option D is incorrect because anomie is another cause of suicide in Durkheim's theory, but it is related to social regulation, which is distinct from social integration. You have reached the end of our first question set. For the free complete exam preparation, visit our website link in the description, where you find thousands more practice questions and comprehensive study guides. Thanks for studying with us today. See you in the next video.